There is a humanitarian crisis unfolding in our streets, big cities, small cities, all across our province and across our country. People are struggling with mental health, addictions, homelessness, and we're seeing it in encampments in every community across this province.
The chronically homeless in our city is a significant challenge because we do not have enough spaces to serve them within our shelter system or within the additional supports that the municipalities have brought on. Just housing on its own isn't going to be enough.
Our mayors in municipalities across this province have stepped up with solutions in places like Kingston, London, Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo. Municipalities are stepping up. We know what works and we're getting results, but we can't do it alone. We need the provincial and federal governments to join with us with compassion and action.
The Ontario Association of Big City Mayors has launched a Solve the Crisis campaign calling on the federal and provincial governments to immediately address the homelessness and addiction crisis plaguing municipalities, towns, and cities all across the country.
My name is Marianne Mead Ward. I am the Mayor of Burlington and Chair of Ontario's Big City Mayors Caucus. We are an organization of mayors of the 29 largest cities in Ontario, representing 70% of Ontarians. I want to thank some people who are joining me here today. My colleague Cam Guthrie, who is the past chair of the Ontario Big City Mayors Caucus and the mayor of Guelph. Dorothy McCabe, a member of our caucus and mayor of Waterloo. Colin Best, who's the president of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. And Camille Kenville, the CEO of the Canadian Mental Health Association, Ontario Division. We are here to launch Ontario's Big City Mayors Solve the Crisis campaign. Ontario municipalities are struggling. We're struggling with an issue that we can't solve on our own. What is happening on our streets across this province is an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. There are too many people unhoused, living in encampments or other unsafe conditions, and they're struggling with mental health and addictions issues.
The Justin Trudeau Liberals' failing $1 billion drug supply strategy, known as the Canadian Drug Substance Strategy, first implemented in 2017, has oxymoronically peddled the ideologies of harm reduction and safer supply of illicit drugs. This strategy has resulted in chaos descending into Canadian cities and taxpaying residents being put under siege in their own communities.
We're using every tool at our disposal to work with our partners to end this national public health crisis. Since 2017, we've committed to more than $1 billion to address the overdose crisis, and we're taking concrete steps to divert people who use drugs away from the criminal justice system. The evidence is clear. Harm reduction measures save lives. Some 46,000 overdoses have been reversed since 2017. We will continue to trust the science.
Science shows is that, and I'll quote Giuseppe Ganci, the head of Last Store Recovery, 100% of all the people I've met who are on safer supply sell their supply. I've never met anybody who's taken all of it. Why do they sell it? Because while it's powerful enough to get a high to begin with, it loses its strength with use, and so it gets sold to kids, and the profits are then used for fentanyl.
The association's announcement was led by Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward, who is chair of the OCBM, and it calls on the upper levels of government to develop an action table to address the lack of social housing and wraparound support available to those suffering from homelessness and addiction issues to actually solve the crisis created by bad policy, radical advocates, and drug pushers.
We are currently overwhelmed by the opioid crisis. Every single day, 7 people in Ontario die due to drug poisoning, and it's largely due to the toxic, unregulated drug supply. There are about 2,500 to 3,000 people who die annually as a result of opioid toxicity. So these are issues that my colleagues face every single day and are on the front line. We need currently, as it relates to housing, we need 100,000 units now to manage what is a wait list across Ontario. That's today. More than a decade ago, we called on government to provide 3,000 units annually at a cost of $30 million annually. Had that been met in 2015, we likely wouldn't be here today and we wouldn't be having these conversations. The homelessness and opioid issues did not happen overnight. However, we have fallen so far behind in addressing them that we need to come together as we have to talk about these in a manner that really invokes government to take action.
As explained in the announcement, homelessness often leads to drug addiction, and chronic drug use leads to brain injury. Then these issues are downloaded onto the streets, and towns, cities, and municipalities are left grappling with the fallout of this failed federal and provincial initiative.
Overall, we want to stay laser focused on the fact that people are living in our streets and they're dying in our streets, and it doesn't have to be this way. And it is mental health, it is addictions. There are many different ways to provide wraparound supports, and it will be different in every single community. But the magnitude of the need, the piecemeal nature, the allocation-based funding, as Colin mentioned, this is part of a larger discussion around a need for a municipal fiscal economic review. Because as long as municipalities are required to wait for a funding announcement or allocation program to open, hope that you qualify, hope that your application will get across the finish line, wonder if you're going to get what you asked for or some percentage of that, that is not a way to solve a crisis. Any crisis, pick one we're faced. That is not how to run a country. It's not how to run a province. And it's how we in Canada have been doing it for decades, if not since the beginning.
And that I think that it's very important that we get the facts out in order to dispel the misguided ideological driven policies of the Conservatives. And it is really important that Canadians understand how difficult it is to save lives in the face of the toxic drug supply.
And it's taxpayers who are left bearing the cost of these failures through rising property taxes.
I'm here both as the mayor of the city of Waterloo, but also as a regional councillor for the region of Waterloo. And in our region, we have put a tremendous amount of money from our property tax system into working to address what we call a plan to end chronic homelessness. And the fact of the matter, in addition to what our colleagues shared here today, is that these are issues that the property tax system was never set up to address. Right? This is not what this program was set up to address. It's a 19th century model. So we have poured millions of dollars in our region into addressing this, and we're taking it off the backs of our local residents and our local citizens.
As businesses in downtown areas grow increasingly destitute, it's clear that urgent changes are needed before more lives are lost at the hands of this heinous policy failure. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. We launched a campaign shedding light on this issue at fixourcities.com. There you can sign our petition, and you can also sign up to receive our emails to be updated on this story as it unfolds. All of that at fixourcities.com.